this thing that we call love is really far more complicated than just a single dimension, and that love tends to mellow out over a long period of time in a marriage. The average marriage will end after about 15 years being together with people. Marrying young, especially in your teens, is probably one of the best predictors, unfortunately, of breaking up. If you kind of look at the reasons why people are getting divorced, it's often for reasons that their interests have changed or the love is simply not there. So we're actually expecting more from our marriages, and perhaps paradoxically, this is what's leading to more divorces in our society.
I proposed to Brooke at Texas Longhorn Ranch in Strathroy, and we went on our hour-long horseback ride through the woods, and at the end I got off my horse and I pulled out the ring and I proposed to her, and yeah.
So yeah, it ended up being Christmas morning. We were opening our stockings and I had wrapped it up and put it in her stocking.
So he grabbed it from me right away and then opened the box and asked me, "Will you marry me?" And of course, all of my emotions kind of started crying and overwhelmed and stuff. And of course, I said yes. I was very excited and was surprised. Like, I didn't expect it at all because I was expecting we'd use the money to buy furniture.
Our other dog that we used to have was a big mommy suck to her, so as soon as you'd open the door, he'd be right to her. She said, "Why is he wearing a shirt?" And I said, "Well, turn on the light and look at it." She's in bed. So she turns on the light and his shirt said Mary. And then the other dog comes prancing in. And her shirt says me with a question mark. And she's like, "Mary, what?" And then I come in and I had breakfast in bed and the ring was on the tray.
It was really cute.
I never expected to get married. I honestly was totally against marriage when I was younger. So when I met Jeff and then we started our family and stuff, it was very weird for me to actually feel like it was okay.
I never really thought about getting married growing up, really. I was just so focused on my career, and then I met Brooke, and I always wanted a family, but I didn't know when. I never was like, "Oh, when I'm 30, I'm gonna have a family," but just kind of, I just like to go with the flow, and it just happened, and it wouldn't change a thing.
Growing up, I wasn't the typical girl thinking about marriage, planning and stuff. I'd rather go play baseball or go play with the boys outside and stuff. So that was never in my future, I guess. I never planned on it. I guess 5 years ago, we thought about it and just seeing everyone else starting to get married and engaged.
We talked about marriage before too. We didn't make any serious plans, obviously, but it was something we knew we wanted to do. I've known for most of my life that I wanted to get married eventually. It wasn't a necessity, but it's just something you almost expect to happen.
I was one of those little girls that has always wanted to get married. So even when I was 5, I knew I wanted to get married. We'd play and we'd get all dressed up and wear big dresses and flowers, yeah.
I actually never wanted to not that I didn't want to get married. It was just never something I had anticipated in my life.
You said you wanted to be a bachelor for the rest of your life.
I did. I was quite content being on my own, living on my own, doing things the way I wanted to do them for the most part. But it just kind of happens when you find somebody that it becomes more comfortable to live with that person than it is to live without. And it got to the point where I was calling in sick. I was calling in sick to work so I could go to hang out at her place. So at that point I was like, oh, okay. Maybe I overshot a little bit saying I never wanted to get married. But it was definitely took a little bit to wrangle me in anyway on the idea.
I think we were certainly influenced by our friends and family, but I wouldn't say they forced us by any means. We made our own decision.
We knew we were going to get married eventually. There was just no rush for it. Just over the years, people, coworkers, family, friends saying, "When is it going to happen?"
I didn't feel any pressure, but it was always there.
Yeah.
you've been together as long as we have, it's bound to happen.
For us, getting married was a personal choice. We wanted to get married for ourselves because we're crazy for each other, and we want to give Knox a normal life, you know, 2 parents. Well, I guess it's not normal nowadays is all sorts of things, you know.
And we decided now over, I guess, as opposed to later. We both kind of discussed, I mean, why would you wait when it's something you already know you want to do? I mean, when we decided to get engaged, I knew that was the right time. I knew that was what I wanted to do. I knew asking her to marry me was, you know, the only thing I couldn't get it off my mind is the only thing I wanted to do. So after doing it, I mean, we waited a year and a half, or give or take as it was. Why would we continue to wait and continue to wait to do something that we knew was basically inevitable at that point?
What inspired the whole idea of like the kind of surprise wedding was that, first of all, we're just not traditional people. Like, we hated the idea of having like a big, expensive, ridiculous wedding. Like, we just wanted the people we loved, and we just wanted it to be simple, because it's not about like how much money we spent on our wedding. It was about the fact that me and Jeff were getting married.
When numbers started coming through, we're just like, wow, this budget is just, I don't want to spend that kind of money. And then we have a baby and we have a house and we want to go on a honeymoon, and we're just like, this is getting a little ridiculous. So do we make one side of the family happy and not the other? And as she said, we literally just said, you know what? Let's just elope. And our bridal party, a good chunk of them at least, were all from BC. And we were joking about, we wish that, you know, she could just plan it for us, because she used to be a wedding planner. And she goes, well, if you get married here, I will. We're like, okay.
We kind of knew we wanted a longer engagement to give ourselves more time to plan everything.
Our wedding date is May 11th, 2013.
We're getting married at the Fire Rock in Kamoka. It's a golf course. We plan on having an outside wedding, weather permitting, and then the ceremony inside their hall there, which is quite nice. I think our marriage is based in both romance and practicality. I mean, it made sense. We share a lot of things that make our lives more enjoyable, but at the same time, we're pretty romantic too, I think.
Yeah. Well, like, we knew for the longest time that we were eventually going to get married, which I guess kind of drive the whole romantic side of things. But the more practical side of things too is that we didn't have to rush it or.
Yeah, I mean, we got to own a house together. We do a lot of stuff together.
Yeah.
It's good to have both sides, I guess.
And why it doesn't matter if I'm gay or straight, I'm happy and I'm in love, and really can you ask for more?
We got married for romantic purposes. We fell in love, and that's basically where it starts. So yeah, we started our family, and it became practical to get married, and we didn't want to be with anybody else, so we want to have a strong family for Knox, so it was just the only logical choice. The only logical choice.